I go by Lee while I'm here. I'm Ojibwe from Bay Mills. And right now I am currently at Camp McGeezy, which the goal behind Camp McGeezy is on one hand to create a really good safe space for indigenous and BIPOC folks to decolonize and bring in white allies to do the same thing. And we're basically taking on every single initiative that we can to protect the land and to protect the water and to save this for not only ourselves but for future generations. Our main focus is the Enbridge Corporation. Most popularly in the media, we are going against Line 3. Line 3 is almost done, but we're not going to stop when the pipeline is done because we are going to keep fighting it. We're going to try to make sure that oil never goes through the pipeline. And even if oil does go through the pipeline, we are going to be trying nonstop to make sure that that stops. But they are still working on construction for Line 4, which is following a very similar route and creates a lot of the same exact issues that Line 3 does. And we're also trying to fight Line 5. All three of those, Line 3, 4, and 5, are all Enbridge, and they all pose a significant problem to the health of the water, the health of the land. And then on top of that, these pipelines have the fossil fuel output of 50 coal mines or plants. We were fighting for Line 5, or against Line 5 rather, back when the Dakota Access Pipeline fight was getting really, really big. And the problem with things like Line 5 is the pipeline's already there. It's just really, really old, and it's going to fail eventually. And when it does, which it already has, but if it continues to leak and spill, it is contaminating the Great Lakes. And Lake Superior by itself is 10% of the world's surface freshwater. And obviously the Great Lakes are all connected to each other, and so this would be a really big problem. And that's the same reason why Line 3 and Line 4, they cross the Mississippi River twice. They have rivers that flow right into the Great Lakes, and then going completely downstream. Over 200 bodies of water that are directly connected and would be influenced by, any kind of spill. And we already have examples of Enbridge having catastrophic spills and then just covering it up. So if you haven't heard of it, Google Kalamazoo Enbridge oil spill, and there's videos online of the police literally giving interview testimonials about all the different ways that they were paid off to cover up this spill and how Kalamazoo and surrounding areas were seriously impacted. People's health were impacted. People died. This is no joke. The climate crisis is upon us, and a lot of people, especially in the global north, are sitting on this privilege of pretending to ignore it. But in the global south, there's already disaster after disaster that are displacing people, and we are still seeing the effects of climate change in the north. People are just really stubborn about not seeing it. These wildfires didn't used to be this bad. The droughts didn't used to be this bad. And so that's why we're here. Is we're not just gonna let it happen. We have to do everything that we can to try to keep that from happening. What we are all about is nonviolent direct action, because that's been the only thing that can actually make change and try to slow the tide. We try to do a lot of work politically, but also a lot of us don't have faith in the government, which is completely fair and warranted. But so we'll go onto the easement and we will put our bodies in front of the machines and we will stop them from working, and we will lock down to equipment or lock down to the pipeline, and as long as we are there, they can't get work done. And every single hour that we stop Enbridge from working, we are costing them thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, and money talks. I recently saw that Enbridge's stock was going down, and we're not going anywhere. We're going to keep fighting this. And so, there's a lot of media suppression going on, but this, they can't ignore it forever. They can't ignore it forever. And so, yeah, it's basically financial warfare on Enbridge, and just doing everything we can to get in their way. And we're doing a really good job of that, and we're going to keep doing that. What victory would really look like is if the entire world completely divested from fossil fuels in general. We have the ability, and we already have the technology. That's the thing that really blows my mind, is the technology already exists to move into a sustainable way to create energy. Like a victory for me looks like completely moving away from all fossil fuels, completely moving towards sustainable energy. And then on top of that, like we need land back, we need indigenous leadership, and there's a lot of intersectionality. Like this fight isn't just about the environment; it's about everything. And the really beautiful thing about Camp McGeezy and other camps like that is like we're not just fighting for to stop the climate crisis. Like we are building a community that is really beautiful, a community where people come together and it is about community and it's about mutual aid and it's about supporting each other and like the friendships and the people you meet here and the things that you learn and the things that you unlearn and the things that you can like learn to move away from is like communities like this, like a victory looks like communities like this worldwide.